Hello there. My name is Maureen with my co-host Corey. We are The Real Guys, and this is The Real Show with 2 E's. We are bringing you today the finale, I guess you could call it, of our May the 4th Star Wars month. It's been a long one, but we're very happy to bring you our finale today. As always, I'm with my co-host Corey. How are you doing today, Corey?
I'm doing very well, thank you.
Adjust of his glasses.
Yes.
We are finishing off May the 4th Star Wars month, as I said, with our finale. And what a grand finale is a grand finale indeed. It is the hello there, it's me, Master Obi-Wan Kenobi, and I'm bringing you a review of the pilot, the first episode of my signature series on Disney Plus. Hello there,
Great.
It's me.
Thanks, Ewan, for that. We spent 50 quid on that.
Yes, we did. He might be saying other things throughout the episode, maybe.
He does.
Maybe he'll drop some little wisdoms in there occasionally if he feels like it. Thank you, Ewan. We'll just keep you on. What do you think of your lightsaber, Ewan? Maybe an elegant weapon from a more civilized age.
Great.
Okay, great. So, yes, we're talking about the first episode of the Obi-Wan Kenobi series. That's just actually not too far from when we're doing this.
It's not.
Just it was originally slated for May the Wednesday, I think, in May the 20. Yeah. I've just got my calendar up here.
Wow.
Originally slated for the 25th, May 25th.
Correct.
And then was pushed back to the Friday, May 27th.
Yes.
But instead of releasing one episode, they've released 2.
Exactly.
But we're just going to talk about the first. We might dabble in the second just a bit, but just give you some context. But we will be talking mainly about the first episode.
Yes.
That's what we do, don't we? We normally like tackle the first episode in the series, and then later on we'll do the rest. Right?
Exactly.
So these are our first impressions. This is like our first impressions episode, I think.
Yes.
We'll take a relaxed time. We'll take a casual time. We'll take a fun time. So, did you have any expectations going in? What was your experience of the hype? Were you in the hype train for this?
Yes and no.
Were you on board the hype train?
I was looking forward to it, sure. But I wasn't like looking into every detail of, oh my god, there's this thing in the background, or it's set in this time frame, we could see this, and this. I just thought, it's coming out in a couple of weeks, I'm going to sit down and watch it, and whatever happens.
Nice.
I knew what I wanted from the show, but I wasn't like seeing if it was the case. Like, I know what I want.
Right.
I know what I want to happen, and there's certain things that I want to see.
Okay.
Whether or not I'll see them yet, there's still 4 episodes left.
Yeah,
I could do. I also might not. Some of which already kind of being hinted at a little bit.
Right. Well, let's start off with what you mentioned, the time frame of this show.
Yeah.
This is set 10 years after Revenge of the Sith.
Correct.
That's 10 years after the Jedi Purge. That's 10 years after Order 66, the pivotal moment, the Republic transitioned into the Empire, and the end of the Clone Wars and the Separatist Crisis. And we kick off pretty much with, if you haven't watched the prequels, if you haven't seen the prequels, viewers, also listeners, what are you doing?
Yeah, watch them.
What are you doing? Watch them. They're great. So watch the prequels and then watch Obi-Wan.
Yes.
So hey, I can't believe I appreciate that. I appreciate the fact that they've taken the time, and it was really well edited as well. That little package they played beforehand.
It was.
That little recap of the prequels was really well edited. It had everything in there. It had all their great hits, Qui-Gon and Darth Maul and the clones and the Battle of Geonosis and everything, and Palpatine. It was all in there, right? And I felt they lingered on stuff. There's been rumours of also spoilers, by the way, for Obi-Wan Kenobi for the first episode. If you've not seen it, spoilers, by the way. You can come back and listen to this afterwards. But they lingered on Palpatine for quite some time. Obviously, he's the pivotal part of the saga, a very pivotal part of the saga.
Yes.
So they need to involve him at some point. But there's rumours of him appearing in this because there's a trailer for the new Bad Batch series came out with Celebration Anaheim, which was just this weekend. At the time of recording, Star Wars Celebration Anaheim, the biggest Star Wars convention basically in the world, held throughout several cities in the US every year. Started in 1999, by the way, with the release of Phantom Menace.
Nice.
Celebration Anaheim, in different cities. So this was in Anaheim, of course. So with Star Wars Celebration, there was release of the season 2 trailer of the Bad Batch, and that trailer had new voice work by Ian McDiarmid as Palpatine. So we can imagine that he's been busy doing work and such. So there is possibility of him appearing in this.
Possibly.
Which came with the reveal of something which I'll talk about in a bit, but there was... the main focus is, of course, Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yes.
He's in hiding after Order 66, and we see this opening sequence. We're back on Coruscant. By the way, it's our first time seeing the cityscape of Coruscant since the Clone Wars.
Okay.
Since the ending of the Clone Wars, which was, I think, in 2015, 16 maybe, before Season 7 again, which was like early last year. when they finished Clone Wars. They cancelled it and then brought it back on Disney Plus for season 7. So we see the Coruscant cityscape, we see the Jedi Temple, which we saw in Book of Boba Fett with Grogu's flashback. But we see the Jedi Temple, and we see Jedi Master leading the younglings, and then we see the 501st Clone Troopers attack in the sacking of the Jedi Temple by live action clones, if you noticed.
Yep.
Those were practical suits those weren't CGI clones like they did in the prequels. Those were actual practical suits, which is great to see.
It's very good.
And good Clone Wars sound effects. You're hearing the lightsabers, you're seeing the pew 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 of the blasters. It's great. You're thrust back in there. And then we see Tatooine. We see some. We don't know whether it's Mos Eisley or Mos Esper. We're not. I think it was Mos Eisley.
Yeah.
Was it possibly Mos Eisley Spaceport? You'll never find a more wretched hive of scum and villainy. We must be cautious. There you go. Thank you.
Great.
So I'll smatter those in. I'll smatter those quotes in there, like a little salting, a little morsel of Obi-Wan goodness. So, and then we see him, the great man, Obi-Wan Kenobi. He's working at a meat factory.
He is.
I can assume. I only thought it was like rock. I only thought it was some kind of rock. You know, you get those red quartz rock, right?
Yeah.
I honestly thought it was like rock, but no, it's like packs of meat. I can assume
it is.
I think it's crate dragon meat. I think because they look like a big tooth or something, like a big scale or something like that. It was in the ground. So I assume it's like a crate dragon because we see them in Book of Boba Fett, The Mandalorian season 2. We see a crate dragon fully grown. It's this massive worm-headed thing that sort of slithers underground. So when it blows up, it showers that pink meat. So we can assume that is crate dragon meat that they're sort of carving up there.
Possibly.
And they check out. They clock in on their gonk droid. Remember that?
Yep, they do.
That's fun. And everyone takes his EOP, which is I guess camel. It's called Rue, if you don't know what it's called. It's from a book.
Nice.
There's this EOP called Rue. That's the same one from Revenge of the Sith that he
Okay.
rides. And rides him out into the desert, into his cave, and he lives in a cave.
He does.
Which was actually early concept for A New Hope.
Oh, fair enough.
Because initially Obi-Wan was going to be more of a crazy hermit wizard.
Yeah.
Because I know in the old... not even in the film, if you watch the 1977 A New Hope, they call Obi-Wan like, oh, he's a crazy... Uncle Owen says, oh, that wizard's just a crazy old man.
Yeah.
He's an old hermit. When in reality, Obi-Wan's like a wise sage.
Yes.
Because that was sort of Alec Guinness's change. Because Alec Guinness didn't really want to play a kooky wizard. He was like, oh, what if I play like a wise sage character? And Lucas was like, all right, They made some alterations to the script. And instead of living in it was going to be like a 3-story cave, like a 3-level cave. Instead of that, he just lived in like a hut on the side of a cliff. Yeah. Which is fine, live in a little house. But yeah, the concept was he lived in a cave initially, so that's why this Obi-Wan is in a cave, because it's the same sort of story there. But Obi-Wan goes back to his cave, and then we cut back to the town, and we see a ship flying overhead. And this is the Scythe. It is an Imperial Inquisitor transport, if you're familiar with it.
Correct.
It may have looked like something you might have recognised. Rogue One. Fans of Rogue One on this show, aren't we?
Yeah, but it's been like 2 years since we've seen it.
Okay. Well, we can assume it resembles. We've not been given its classification as of yet, I don't think. But it resembles a Krennic's Delta-class shuttle.
Okay.
The sort of black wing, sort of very curved forwards, angular, with those sort of mandible things that jut out the front. It resembles that sort of Delta-class design, so we can assume it's possibly a Delta-class, another sort of variant of a Delta-class shuttle or something like that. So it has that sort of design, and it looks like Krennic's Delta-class shuttle. So it has that sort of protruding cockpit at the top as well. So we can assume that it's that, and also it's called the Scythe. Yes. Again, a cool name, but also relevant of. It's also related to, I think, Darth Maul's scimitar as well. So, which is not to be confused with the Scythe class of battlecruiser. Yeah. From the MC-140 Scythe class battlecruiser, different from that. So, yeah, I like the design of the ship. It looks scary. It looks like one of those fearful Sith transports that fly overhead and cast a great shadow. The silhouette is very important. Also, not to be confused with the TIE Scythe, which is a variant of Legends type of scythe. Also, not to be confused with the Knight of Ren Vickrell, who used a scythe. Not to be confused with that either.
I think most people wouldn't be getting. I think most people don't even know it's called.
I don't even know the name of the ship. No, right, okay. So they rock up to Tatooine. The Inquisitors fly in on their transport, and who turns up? Who's on the scene?
So, there's 3 of them. I'm going to see if I can get these right. You've got a Grand Inquisitor.
Yes.
You've got the fifth brother,
Yes.
which is the one with a hat.
Yeah, the one with the hat. Yeah.
And then it's the second sister?
No, that's from Fallen Order.
Oh, is it?
You mean the third sister?
Right.
Reva, is it?
Yes. I can't remember the fifth brother's name. What's his actual name?
Doesn't have one.
Oh, okay.
We don't know it yet.
Oh, okay. That's why I don't know it then.
The Grand Inquisitor's name, I remember. The only thing I remember about the Grand Inquisitor's name, his last name is Thanos. It's the only thing I can remember.
Great.
The Grand Inquisitor. I'm going to try and find. I'll try and look it up for you.
Okay.
But I know the Grand Inquisitor's last name is Thanos.
Nice.
Because he was originally a temple guard.
He was. I learned about this.
Which is funny.
Facebook.
Which is funny because he demeans Reva.
Yeah.
For being lower than him, but really he was probably there on the same day Reva was in Order 66, protecting the temple because he was a temple guard. So, we know the Grand Inquisitor kind of doesn't want to throw stones from his glass house. So, yeah, the Grand Inquisitor is the leader of the Inquisitors.
Correct.
And he arrives on the scene, and he in the shuttle, and they're looking for a Jedi.
They
walk into the bar, the saloon, and which I thought was very fun. I thought the visual was very funny because Tatooine's one of those sort of very low class of the galaxy, kind of really backwater worlds where even though everything happens on Tatooine, for goodness sake. But they turn up and they're in their like black armor and cool capes. It's really visually striking. They stand out, which I quite like as well.
Yeah, I mean, I have it written down in my lovely little notebook.
Yes, you've got some notes.
I do indeed. First notes I have written down are on these guys. Specifically, the Grand Inquisitor. Mm-hmm. He's kind of the one that's in charge of this whole scene.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know. I've not seen any of him before. I've not seen Rebels.
You've not seen Star Wars Rebels because he's the original character from Star Wars Rebels.
Yes.
He's the main villain in season 1.
So for me, and probably a lot of other people, this is their first introduction. If you're just kind of casual fans of Star Wars, this is probably also the first time you're seeing him.
Yes.
To be fair, I quite liked him because he's not, and you see this with him and Reva.
Yes.
He's very much, I'm going to tell you what I could do to you. I'm going to tell you what I could do. But I'm not going to do it because at that point you're going to give me what I want. And we see that because he's telling the barman, like he's going through the whole scene of like, a Jedi could arrive, you could, things have been stolen from you, he could offer his hand and then you offer him refugee because he already knows this is a thing that's happening. And then Reva just kind of goes, I'm going to hit this Jedi who's just announced himself with a lightsaber, and the Grand Inquisitor just stops her.
Yes.
She's like, no, he's like, I'm going to threaten these people, but don't be too reckless, and essentially try and chop his head off.
Rakesh Thanos.
There we
is
go.
The actual name of the Grand Inquisitor.
But yeah, I like the way that he's more. I think it's more menacing when they say it, because then you're waiting for the time when actually they do it.
And also he looks. Now the trailer was very. They didn't show much of him in the trailer, but they did show people didn't really like because his head still looked a bit weird. Not like Powans have very big, grand heads, and his was kind of domey, melony, and he owned this sort of phantom of Melon Man or Mr. Melon, or whatever he's called on the fan sites. He owned that sort of nickname. But he has the teeth. He has the teeth from that Bruce Spence wore in Episode 3 when he played Tian Medon, the Portmaster in Uspal City. He has the Sith eyes, which we didn't see.
He does.
He just had regular eyes in the trailer. Like, what? He's not Sith. And people saying, oh, maybe he's not full Sith yet, or whatever.
Yeah.
But no, he turns up and he has the Sith eyes. So obviously, that was done between then and the show. So he turns up, he has the Sith eyes, he's walking in, he's like, the key to hunting Jedi is patience. You want to lure the Jedi out. And he's walking around, he doesn't sound that bad. I thought the disconnect between Rupert Friend and Jason Isaac would be a bit more, but I'm able to suspend my disbelief and hey, you know, maybe sounds a bit different, but he's a bit younger, he's 4 or 5 years younger. So, and they've got the dual-bladed lightsaber, the spinny track that spins on. So, and what Reva does is he throws a knife towards the barkeep, and someone uses the Force to stop it, and they've got the Jedi. So they chase him down, she whips out a lightsaber, she goes to slash him, but Grand Inquisitor stops her. So it lets the guy get away.
Yes.
And then you see there's a bit of dissension in the ranks
there. Is.
Reva's after somebody. Reva's trying to hunt Kenobi here on Tatooine.
Yes, Kenobi specifically.
Yes. We don't know why yet, but she's trying to hunt him down.
Whereas everyone else in the Inquisitor just want anyone they can find.
Any of the Jedi. So then we see more of Kenobi's life. He's living in the cave. He's having a bad time.
He does.
He's having a sleep. He's having nightmares.
He's got a little Jawa friend.
A little Jawa friend.
Called Tika.
Tika, that's the one.
I have it written down because I like him.
I like Tika as well.
I like Tika.
the Star Wars humor is few and far between. I think.
I know what you're going to say.
You know,
Because I have it.
Of Tika rocks up with his like little wares to sell his wares, and Obi-Wan's like, "Oh, thank you. I like this little toy of a skyhopper. I'll give it to Luke." That kind of thing. And then he goes, and then Tika goes, "Oh, it smells really bad in here," in his Jawa voice, and then Utini.
Yes.
And there's Jawa words. And Obi-Wan goes, "Well, someone's stolen my air conditioner. Basically, his evaporator has been stolen." And then Tika goes, "Oh, I've got something for that." He pulls out the part, and then Obi-Wan looks at it and goes, "You know, if you're going to steal my stuff, Tika, and sell it back to me, you can at least clean it up." And then Tika goes, "Well, cleaning costs extra."
Yeah.
See? And I thought I got a little chuckle out of that. Fun little joke there, because the Jawas are just ripping and stuff. They're out of control. They're just taking droids and taking things and rolling around in the sandcrawler, and I like that. I like little Tika. So after his Jawa mate goes off,
yes,
Obi-Wan decides to head over to another cave. He goes over to another sort of watch post, a little mountain range that you can see, and he sits there with his binoculars and he watches little Luke Skywalker and Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru, and they're played by the actors from the prequels. Uncle Owen is played by Joel Edgerton, and Aunt Beru is played by Bonnie Piesse, if I pronounced that correctly.
Yes.
So, and Joel Edgerton does a great job, really, really good. I really believe he is Uncle Owen. He has that same tone. He has that same, you stay away from my family, Obi-Wan. I'm gonna do something. That kind of thing.
I like the way because when you first see them, and it happens a lot, especially in the first episode, you see other people that we'll go on to later on that kind of are played and younger versions of people we know. But you see Luke and like he runs off. And then we're looking for him, and you just see him with like a little goggles on, a little hat, pretending he's in a pod racer.
He's in a pod racer. That was really fun. I enjoyed that.
And it's like, yep, I can believe, I can believe you're related to Anakin, but other guy.
And then Obi-Wan sees it. Obi-Wan remembers him flying the pod racer, and he's like, he remembers him in the Naboo starfighter. So, and then he also has horrible nightmares of Anakin being burned alive on Mustafar.
Yes.
And having to cut all his limbs off and fighting him and
that whole kind of like nightmare sequence,
the trauma of it.
I'm hoping, and I think we'll get it. Because it happens again briefly in the second episode. After the nightmares, he wakes up and he's asking for Qui-Gon.
Qui-Gon, yes.
There's a part in the second episode where he asks him as well, but in the first episode, he's asking for Qui-Gon.
Because at the end of episode 3, Yoda says that he can teach Obi-Wan to commune with the dead, commune with the Force ghosts, and Qui-Gon Jinn. Now we don't know whether Liam Neeson, let's call him out, is going to be in this series. Because he has said that he is open to returning as Qui-Gon, but in a film. Yeah. So we don't know whether he'd be open to TV roles.
Yes, because also the last time technically he was in it was
the Clone Wars.
Well, not even that. Well, yeah, but he was also technically in Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah,
but that wasn't even a new voice line. But he had to take a old voice line and cut it a little bit.
Oh, I see.
So he didn't even record. I don't know if he was busy or they just didn't get him in.
He was in Clone Wars. I know he was in Clone Wars. He played Qui-Gon for 2 episodes in Clone Wars. So I don't know whether they tricked him or something. But hey, come in, Liam. It's just for a film. It's for a film, Liam.
I think we'll get Qui-Gon.
Lure him into a voice booth.
I think we'll get Qui-Gon, but I think we'll get Qui-Gon right at the end. Yeah. And I think it's after that point, Obi-Wan won't need advice because he's figured it out, and that's going to be the whole point of you didn't need me because you know what you're doing.
Okay.
I reckon we'll see him. I hope
me
we
too.
do.
I really hope. If it's just his voice or something, or just get him, it's not that hard. So if he can do Derry Girls, he can do this. Let's be realistic.
Yeah. I mean, Qui-Gon is... Because even like in the later Star Wars films, you see where like Obi-Wan comes back and Anakin comes back and Yoda's back as a Force ghost and stuff like that. Where's Qui-Gon in that sequence, man? I know like Luke didn't know him.
Yeah.
Pretty much. But still.
So...
He's still there.
Then we had, he's calling out to his master, Qui-Gon. He's trying to get his advice and things like that. So, and even then, even through Attack of the Clones, he was talking about Qui-Gon and things. And because obviously Dooku was Qui-Gon's master before Qui-Gon took Obi-Wan and things, and Dooku was trained by Yoda. But we cut from Tatooine, do we not?
We do.
To the blue sea and blue sky and green grass and beautiful buildings of Alderaan. Now, I didn't expect. I had no idea this was coming.
No, I didn't.
Apart from one thing, right? In a trailer, there's a hand that's holding the circular droid.
Yes.
And it was revealed that who this droid belongs to, and I was like, how are they going to do that? They're not going to do that. They can't show that.
Yeah.
But suddenly, we see Alderaan. It's there. It's like episode 3.
Yep.
It's got the big sort of really tall spire, white spire city, that kind of thing. tall skyscrapers and things like that. And it's Alderaan. They're like, oh my goodness, we're doing this. And I had no idea. So really great surprise as well. And even in the recap, they say, you see Bail Organa, and he says, I will take the girl to Alderaan.
Yeah.
We've always wanted a daughter, that kind of thing. So, and then we see him. We see Breha Organa, and we see Bail Organa. Jimmy Smits is back. So, and we see young Princess Leia.
She is there in a tree.
In a tree. What do you think of the inclusion of the other side of the Skywalker family, effectively?
I liked it because, one, I wasn't expecting it, and I thought it was a really good job because as soon as it came up, and I know it wasn't her who was getting dressed up, but you were supposed to think it was. When they were kind of like dressing this person, I thought, oh, is this? I was like, this looks.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't expecting Leia to be in it at all, and I thought this looks like Leia, but I was like, well, she'd be young.
Yeah.
This looks like a young Leia, and then it wasn't until later on where you see her in a tree with Lola, her droid is called. I don't know the classification.
Right. Okay.
But I know it's called Lola. And she's like, oh, look at these ships. And she's putting all the ships out. And,
yes.
oh, that ship's hunting for pirates.
Yeah, it was an Aqualish ranger.
Hopefully not hunting for Hondo.
No, Hondo Onaga.
I'm hoping he doesn't appear in
the
this.
greatest pirate in the galaxy. But we've got and actually the ship she's a tri-wing shuttle.
Yes.
Which is actually the shuttle that General Grievous used to kidnap Palpatine. Is actually I know that for a fact that General Grievous used a tri-wing shuttle in the Clone Wars to kidnap Palpatine. So she sees that ship, she sees an Aqualish Ranger and stuff like that, and she runs off with a droid called Lola, like a cute little probe.
It's a nice droid.
Nice little droid with little fluttery wings, and goes off with them. And her mother, Breha Organa, who I just figured out isn't played by the same actress from Episode 3. I thought she was. She's not. So she's got a new actress for that. And of course, Jimmy Smits is always a class act. He's a great guy. We like Jimmy. We're big fans of Jimmy Smits on the show. You know, Dexter, and I think he was in Dexter, wasn't he?
I think so, maybe.
Yeah. So Jimmy Smits, Dexter, episode Rogue One again.
Yeah.
Veteran Star Wars actor Jimmy Smits. He's around and he's like, oh, we must get ready for the ball, you know, get to the political ball and things like that. And there's a nice little nod when he's at the ball. One of his mates or one of his political friends says, you know, the Empire's finally started to, line our pockets.
Yep.
Which is a good tease for Andor.
Yep.
Because you know that Andor's got a great deal of Imperial corruption that's started to
Correct.
get into the galaxy. So then, but Leia's not interested.
No.
Leia doesn't like all the political stuff.
No.
She does little Carrie very well.
She does.
Especially when she kind of puts down her cousin, like, oh, if you think I'm an idiot, you should see yourself, mate. That kind of thing. And I think that's very young Carrie. That's very sort of Carrie Fisher's feisty Leia, and I like that.
Young Leia in this, and especially in the second episode, is very good. The whole kind of ball sequence is great. I like the fact that you see other droids. YO is there. C-3PO is there.
We see very short second we see him. You can instantly recognise the voice. It's Anthony Daniels doing it as well.
Yeah.
I don't know whether it's called new lines for that, or whether that's sort of reused footage or reused
audio.
audio.
Lines.
But it sounded like new lines to me. He was translating.
Yeah, I mean, he's carrying on the whole thing of, I want to be in every single Star Wars film
yes,
made.
protocol droid.
Yeah.
You know.
I'm going to be in anything. Even if it's not C-3PO, which sometimes it hasn't been, but I'm going to be in everything.
He's a protocol. He's playing the C-3PO. And he looked great as well. Really nice. Yes. Really. I almost forgot that he was with them. I was like, oh, yeah. He does belong to Bail Organa. I forget he belongs to Captain Antilles.
Yeah.
Who's the captain of the Tantive 4. So... And then Leia, she runs off from the bow. She wants to run free in the woods. She's running around the woods, and then she suddenly turns, and it's Flea from the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Yeah, there he is.
Standing there.
Correct.
Who I feel like I caught it immediately, but initially I thought it was Nick Gillard, who was the stunt coordinator for Episode 3, if he shaved his head, because he was bald for Episode 3. But I initially thought, is that Nick Gillard? But then I realised, hold on, no, that's Flea from Red Hot Chili Peppers. He's here.
He was here.
Which is weird. So it's nice to see him.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's when he opened his mouth. I think when he started talking, I'm like, yeah, that's Flea. So,
I mean, Star Wars does the whole thing of, we're going to bring in people who have like a very, very limited character role. We're just going to bring him in.
So get him in, and it's great to see him, you know. And Flea does some acting. He's been in, he was in Back to the Future.
He was.
He was in Baby Driver recently, in
Correct.
2017. So...
He's in the Thornberrys.
Yeah. So he was in the Thornberries, wasn't he?
Yeah.
So...
Plays a little kid.
Yep. And it's nice to see Flea.
Yeah.
It's really, it's nice to see him. So he's knocking about. He's playing a bounty hunter.
He is.
And they're chasing him and his gang, chase down Leia through the forest and Tekka.
Correct.
Kidnap her.
Yes.
on their ship, and they're flying towards Daiyu, which is this new cityscape planet.
Yes.
And Obi-Wan, he wants none of it. He's going back to his cave, and he sees they've sent him an very sort of Leia-like help message, like, help us, Obi-Wan Kenobi, you're our only hope.
Well, they're not even sending him; they're literally calling him.
Yeah, they're calling him on his hologram thing, which he's never used. It's out of use. He's like, who's phoning me on the phone? And he clicks the button. It's Bail Organa, and he's like, you must help us, Obi-Wan. So he must respond to the call, but he doesn't want it. He says, hire a bounty hunter, hire someone else. Ring Yoda up. Even though I realise you can't reach Yoda. Yoda's probably got none of that technology.
No.
Yoda's got nothing. Yoda's in a swamp.
Yoda's doing what Obi-Wan should have done, which is not have one.
Not have nothing at all. Yeah, Yoda's got his feet up in the swamp. I bet Yoda's having a whale of a time.
He's just waiting. That's what he's doing.
Exactly. Yoda's just sipping pims by the water side.
Yeah.
By the swamp side with his little hut. So apparently Yoda has 2 huts. Do you want a little fact about Yoda?
Wow.
He had 2 huts on Dagobah, one for the dry season and one for the rainy season.
He's a smart man.
Yeah, exactly.
Prepared.
So prepared. And but they don't ring Yoda. They have to ring Obi-Wan. They're like, help us, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're our only hope. And everyone's like, no, he's not going to do it.
No.
But then Bail turns up. He goes to the cave, and he's like, this is where you've been living, Obi-Wan. You must help. You must rescue Leia. And then Obi-Wan's like, I must watch the boy. I must stay with the boy.
Yeah.
But Obi-Wan's the only one who can do it. He's a Jedi. He has to get back into the fight. So he goes out into the desert on Rue, and he finds the lightsabers in the case. He finds Anakin's and his. I
like the fact in this interaction that there's a part when they're talking, and he's saying that he has to stay. Look after the boy. He's got to stay. And then there's a part where Bail just turns around and just goes, "This isn't about the boy, and you know it." Essentially saying that he knows that he doesn't want to leave because he doesn't want to leave.
Yeah.
He's been here for 10 years.
He's staying out on purpose.
Not gone anywhere for 10 years, and he doesn't really know what to do.
Yes.
And he goes, save the boy's sister, or I forgot what it says. Something about doesn't his sister deserve to be looked after as well as something. And Obi-Wan's essentially forced to leave.
And it's all according to Reva's plan. Reva has a vendetta against Kenobi. She's hired Flea and the bounty hunters, and she says if you bring this girl to Daiyu, Obi-Wan will follow. Obi-Wan will come for her. Sorry.
Yes.
So they take the ship, and I swear, for a second, I thought it was Cad Bane. Because the ship they use looks like Cad Bane's Justifier from the Bad Batch and Clone Wars. I thought that's Cad Bane, but it's not.
It's not.
So, but for a second I thought it was very like, Cad Bane kidnaps Omega in Bad Batch. I thought it was like that kind of situation. But no, it turns out it's not Cad Bane.
It's not.
So they've got Flea instead.
Yes.
Yeah. So they're taking her to Daiyu, and it's up to Obi-Wan to go. So he takes the Star Wars equivalent of like a bus, like a public transport. This woman turns up, and she goes, "Are you coming or not, Obi-Wan?" And then he's like, and then he decides to finally carry on and go on the ship, and that's where we end the first episode.
Whoa, kind of.
Well,
because this episode ends for me, it ended 3 different times. Because there's a point where Bail turns up, and then he decides to leave, and then it cuts to black, and then it pauses for a bit, then it comes back.
Yes.
And then there's this bit, and then it goes black, and it pauses for a bit, and then something part before that. There's certain parts where you think, okay, it's ended now.
Well, we see.
And it comes back.
It turns out that earlier in the episode we see that the Inquisitors have got to Nari.
Yes.
Strung him up.
Yeah.
By the hand. I just thought they guillotine hanged him.
I thought that.
And I was like, they had him by a noose. I'm like, oh my goodness, but no, they've just kind of strung his arms up, I guess, and cut him across.
Yeah.
So they got to the Jedi eventually, and Kenobi's like, it motivates him to leave because they're going to keep hunting for Jedi on Tatooine. So if he's not there, then they're not going to be able to find him. So then they head off. He heads off to Daiyu, and that brings us to the second episode.
Yeah. There's also a part a bit after. When does it take place? It's after Obi-Wan has just come back from work, and Owen throws the toy back at Obi-Wan.
Yes,
and stay away from the boy.
Yeah.
And then there's a part where the Inquisitors come back and they single Luke out because Reva can essentially sense that he knows something.
Reva can sense Owen, says that he knows the Jedi, And then Owen denies it.
Yeah.
But she says, I'll start cutting off people's hands.
But she does.
And she does, because some woman's like, you've got no power here, Inquisitor. And then she's like, oh yeah? Slash, I like your hand. And she's a very quiet woman.
Yeah.
No scream, no cry of pain. No yell, no grunt, nothing. She's just completely silent once her hand's cut off. Guess that works.
Pretty much.
Guess it works then.
But I mean, as a whole, as a first episode, I thought it was a strong
very
start.
strong. Very strong. Did we consider a real rating for this?
I was between two.
Right.
I was torn between a 8.5 or a 9.
I was going to hit a 9.
The only reason why I'm thinking maybe not a 9 is because at the end of the series, maybe I'll be like, okay, the first wasn't as strong as I thought it was. Maybe it's just hype. Maybe because the first episode, like, yeah, great. And then maybe at the end of the series, I'll be like, okay, calm down a bit now.
Well, it's got 2 ways to go. It'll either get better or it'll get worse. It'll mellow out, perhaps.
Yeah, I mean,
like Boba Fett did.
We'll talk about the other episodes.
Yes, at a later date when they're all out.
In about 4 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
I will say quickly, the first episode I think I prefer to the second. The second one's still good.
Right.
But I prefer the first. But I think, it's about an 8.5 to a 9.
Okay.
I don't know where I stand.
I'm going to hit a 9.
Okay,
You can go 8.5. I'm not going to be ashamed.
I'll hit a 9.
Okay.
I'll hit a 9. No, it was good. It was strong. I like the fact that there's no action in it at all. There's no fights, no combat.
No, not
nothing.
yet. Yeah. It's very clear. It's very clear cut. It's very sort of steady. It's giving you some setup. It's setting up who the enemies are. No tease of Vader, not yet. And then we see the Inquisitors, and they're enough of a threat. You should know the actor behind the fifth brother.
It's Sung Kang.
Sung Kang, yes, from
Sung Kang from Fast and Furious.
Yes, indeed. Too Fast, Too Furious. Too Sung, Too Kang.
Yes.
He's there, and he's the fifth brother, and he looks good. The makeup looks great. He doesn't sound the same as he does in Rebels, and he's not as big as he is in Rebels.
Yeah.
But still, I appreciate the fact they're bringing in these characters. There's a little something about the Grand Inquisitor we won't mention it yet, but we'll see what happens in the future episodes.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens there, and if they decide to adhere to canon or not.
Yeah.
We don't really know. Well, this is established to be canon.
Yes.
So what we can assume, spoilers, happened to the Grand Inquisitor isn't permanent.
No.
Let's use that word. So just a little bit of background, perhaps, if you like it, for our last few minutes here.
Go for it.
We have Ewan McGregor. Hello there. Talked a great deal about his character of Obi-Wan Kenobi and his characterization. He says he's looking to move closer towards the Alec Guinness portrayal of Obi-Wan. You can hear that in the voice, even though you can hear that in the voice.
Well, this is one of the things that when we talked about the trailer a couple months ago, whenever it was, I forgot to mention this. This is, I believe, the last time canonically we see Kenobi until Alec Guinness takes over.
In fact, no.
Is it not?
Rebels.
Oh, okay.
Season 3, I think episode 19, Twin Sons.
Has he got short grey hair? Does he still look
No, he looks like Alec Guinness.
Okay, good. Because I want to see near the end of this him either start going grey, maybe his hair shorter, some kind of transition into that.
He's got 9 years for that to happen. Apparently.
Yeah.
He's got 9 years for that to happen. People are saying, "Oh, how can he go from McGregor to Alec Guinness in 9 years?"
Just give us like a little start of it. Maybe a couple of grey hairs. Maybe his hair's a bit shorter. Some kind of little hint.
Beard grey. You know.
Just some kind of hint that at some point it makes more sense why he looks like that.
Yeah, because initially it was explained as two things.
Yeah.
A, Tatooine is just murder on you.
Yeah.
Seriously, everyone on Tatooine is just really old. So that's why it grows, the skin does you.
Yeah.
Because that's why Luke got off of Tatooine at like age 20.
Yeah.
And didn't come back for a while, so he doesn't age rapidly. And 2, everyone in Star Wars apparently just ages horribly. Star Wars is just a universe where you will age and age and age. Unless you're Bo-Katan, then you're somehow fine.
Yeah.
And so, and when you're Boba Fett and you're 40, you look like you're about 60 odd, But I think that's explained as, being the Sarlacc pit and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yes, he tries to bring his Kenobi closer to the portrayal of Alec Guinness. He says he's more, broken, faithless, beaten. I mean, he's given up. He's given up the fight, he says. He even said it himself.
He does.
He's given up because they've lost.
They've lost the war.
And he feels pity. He feels guilty for leaving Anakin for dead. And
yes.
And Deborah Chow, the director of the series, was intrigued that Kenobi might still care deeply for Anakin and might want to, redeem him, even though he doesn't know what's his fate as of yet. and he can't sense him.
Hmm.
So a very emotional version of Kenobi, and I really like that. You know, as he says, it's the very emotional side of Kenobi as opposed to, you know, Alec Guinness's, you know, Zen master. You know, you've taken your first step into a larger world, that kind of thing. Where Obi-Wan's like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm going around. Who am I? Kind of thing. I appreciate that. That he's more lost and he's more, because after something shocking like that, his entire order, the Republic falling to the ground, the Jedi Order in tatters. You know, all his friends are dead.
Yeah.
So he's left alone, having to watch this. Anakin's child, so Anakin's son and daughter. I really appreciate that side of it, and to play with that level of trauma for his character.
Yeah, it's really good.
So, but for the weekly rec,
Correct.
this week,
Yeah.
what do you have for us?
So I'm taking it away from Star Wars,
Okay,
but I'm keeping it Ewan McGregor.
right.
I'm recommending Christopher Robin.
Wow. Okay, go on. Take us
From
to Christopher Robin.
4 years ago.
Mhm.
So Christopher Robin, for people who are unaware for some reason, is the kid in the Winnie the Book series of
Winnie the
books.
Pooh book.
Yes,
Yeah.
so Winnie the Book. Yeah, that makes sense.
Winnie
doesn't
the Book.
it? Yeah, he is essentially the kid
Hmm.
who is around with Tigger and Winnie and Eeyore and Piglet and anyone else who's in that. The kangaroo as a rabbit as well,
Yeah.
and others that I'm probably forgetting. And it's just a book about essentially this.
100 Acre Wood.
Yeah, but it's like he's a grown man who has these creatures around him, and he can see
Yeah.
them. And I can't remember if it's been a while since I've watched it. I can't remember if other people can also see them or not. If it's just him.
All right. Okay.
But it just kind of tells that story.
I mean,
of-
he grows up and he has to return to the old world of the
yes.
wood, and Winnie the Pooh is there and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's I think I've got a good memory of this film.
It's been a while, but I remember it being good. I remember enjoying it.
I remember the craze of making every single it hit. I think you know what I'm talking about here.
Yeah.
It hit at the middle of the craze where everyone was turning every Ewan McGregor role into Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yeah.
To the point where they'd effectively memed, as the kids say, they'd memed the trailer to that very infamous moment where Ewan McGregor turns around on the bench and he goes, Pooh? And then Winnie the Pooh pops up and says, hello, Christopher Robin.
Yeah.
You know, they've memed it to the point where Obi-Wan turns around on the bench and goes, I said Obi-Wan, where Ewan McGregor turns around on the bench and goes, hello there. And then Winnie the Pooh pops up with 4 lightsabers and goes, General Kenobi. And I was like, that's perfect. So even look, Star Wars Celebration has literally become get the Star Wars actors to say the Star Wars memes, right?
Yes.
There's clips of Matt Wood saying General Kenobi, and
I've seen a clip. I've seen a couple clips. Ian McDiarmid kept coming up on my social media.
Yeah, he keeps saying them.
He's like it's telling us about George Lucas, and
Dude.
first off, he sounds like Palpatine. When he talks,
yeah.
it's very weird. But yeah, he'll say it, and then he'll realize that he's saying it, and he'll go, oh yeah, George made me do it. He goes, do it.
Yeah.
Like.
Oh, I love that. I think
Great.
I've seen that clip as well.
It's really good.
They were doing some sort of scene, weren't they, or something?
Yeah.
And
It's like he realised he said the quote, so he has to backtrack to say it again.
Yeah. George said, "Oh, just do it, do it,
Yeah.
do it." And at the end of the panel, I think it's another thing. At the end, he says he gets asked, "Can you say, did you ever hear the tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise?" And he says, "Oh, I don't use the Palpatine voice for that." Then he just says it anyway. He goes,
Yeah.
"Did you ever hear the tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise?" And then the crowd explodes, and they did it as well for the Boba Fett memes, like a Bantha and stuff like that. There was a panel. There was a panel for the Attack of the Clones is 20 years old.
Yes.
So they did a panel with Anthony Daniels, C-3PO, Doug Chang, the concept artist, Matthew Wood for the sound, John Knowles, who works at ILM, and I think Ewan and Hayden, and then Daniel Logan, who played young Boba Fett, and Tamura Morrison, who played Jango.
Yeah.
And they got them all up on stage, and then when Ashley Eckstein, who's the voice of Ahsoka Tano, was hosting the panel, leans over to Daniel and Tem and says, "So, Daniel and Tem," and then she's just about to start the conversation, and someone yells from the front row, like a bantha, and she looks over and is like, "What?" Then it starts a chain of people saying like a bantha. So the audience goes like a bantha, and then Matt Wood leans over and goes, "They're saying like a bantha," and then Tem starts doing the action like he's riding the speeder bike. And he even said that line was ad-libbed. He said that line wasn't in the script. And he thought, well, how can I relate riding a speeder bike to the Tusken
Yeah.
Raiders? He goes, today, yeah, guys, you ride the speeder bike like a panther. Yeah. And he says it's become the easiest line that he can autograph now.
Yeah.
You know, he says that writing Django quotes like, "Oh, I'm just a simple man making my way in the galaxy" is really long. Well, he can write like a panther really easily.
I mean, to be fair, I think Ian McDiarmid has that down because you can either write "do it," which is 2 letters. This is 4 letters.
4 letters.
Or you just write
2
like
words.
"unlimited power," which is 2 words.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's it.
You've
Done.
got it done. Ian McDiarmid has it sorted. Or like, oh, good. 1 word, 4 letters. You know.
It's like great.
Or we can write good with like 15 O's.
Yeah.
You know, when Palpatine goes good, you can write good with like 10 O's and you'll be fine. So yeah, he has got it. He's got
it nailed down.
You know what? Ian McDiarmid is so game for Star Wars. I love it. He's in his 70s, 80s now.
Yeah.
Bless him. And he's still getting stuff for Palpatine. He shows up to all these conventions. He was when I went to Comic-Con in Birmingham last year. He was there with Hayden.
Yeah.
And I heard him on stage. I didn't see him, but I heard him on stage. And I was like, oh, he sounds like he's having a great time. I bet he's just so game for it now. I bet he's just got to that age where, you know what? I'm going to pack acting in. I'm just going to get all money from going to conventions and doing Palpatine.
Yeah.
And saying, do it. And saying unlimited power and the tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise. Which is great. And I really enjoy that. And it's really nice to see the fans like come round on Hayden, especially.
I was going to mention
the amount
this.
of people who, when Hayden comes on stage, people are loving it. People are cheering him. And I really hope he's happy now, and I hope he's sort of at peace in a way.
Yeah.
When the prequel, the amount of hate the prequel's got, and people with negative reviews must have done horrible for him. He looks so tired most of the time. But I hope he's happy, and I hope he's content with the fact that the fans like embrace him now and love him.
It's one of those things where I was watching a YouTube video, which is I nearly said Obi-Wan, which is Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen. They're sitting at a table, and you can like agree on the left, you can strongly agree on the left, you can disagree on the right, and strongly disagree. And one of the things was are the prequels underrated, and they talk about how both of them, after doing the prequels, they didn't really ever hear anyone talking about it good because there wasn't like social media or anything. There's like people on Twitter being like, oh, I really like this film, or defending characters and stuff. All they heard was the negative stuff. And it is good seeing Hayden come back and kind of getting more of a positive review and kind of people actually liking him now and not getting hate for it. And it's because I'm happy he's back. Because part of me is also surprised he's back. Because part of me is going, if you've got that hate and you've been offered to come back...
He could have so easily said no.
Yeah.
No, I don't do it. They're gonna dislike me. But the fact that I think, especially in the last few years, like since like I don't want to say since the sequels have came out, but since the sequels have came out, everyone's really softened on the prequels, so everyone likes them.
Yeah.
And there's they've got that meme culture that is where there's like the so bad it's good kind of thing, where it's the circular narrative where it gets to that level where you can love it for its sort of silliness and for its sort of deepity if you look at it. And it's got to that culture now where I feel like everyone's really come around on the prequels. They've come around on McGregor and Hayden, and I think that's the best parts of the saga and stuff like that. Even like when Matt Wood was talking about changing the sound of the battle droid voices, because there was a Q&A part of the panel, and someone asked like, oh, the battle droid voices changed from episode 1 to episode 2, and Matt Wood said, oh, we did that because they were controlled by the Trade Federation control ship, and they had those sort of deeper, more mechanical voices.
Yeah.
And they changed that because they're actually made on sort of crappier processors, and the Separatists didn't really make them very well.
Yeah.
So they changed from, the more robotic voices into the Roger, Roger, look out, Roger, Roger. And he does that voice on stage, and everyone starts cheering. So it's that great, the recollection of the Star Wars culture that's really been cultivated, to say it again.
Yeah.
That people are just really enjoying it. And I'm really happy that Hayden's back and that he's doing well. And Ewan seems really content as well with it. So even the new stuff, even bringing like Joel Edgerton and Bonnie Piarci again, which is great. And I know the one slight thing about Kenobi I've just got to mention. Again, we go back to the Grand Inquisitor.
Yeah.
They've cast Rupert Friend, who is a great actor, really good. I don't know why they couldn't get Jason Isaacs. I don't know whether we'd be game for it or something like that, or they couldn't reach him, but I know they like to keep a very good level of continuity.
Yeah.
Even though it's not the first time they've done it. Like, Ahsoka isn't played by Ashley Eckstein. She's played by Rosario Dawson. So obviously it was done with Ashley's blessing, and Ashley has a great deal of knowledge on Ahsoka, and it's still being controlled by Dave Filoni, who knows everything there is to know about Ahsoka and Star Wars. So it's done with the same amount of care. I feel like it's done with the same amount of care no matter who it is.
Yeah.
So there's Rupert Friend, Jason Isaacs, and the same thing with Ashley Eckstein, who seems to really like Rosario as well. And Rosario is obviously key to play this character and has knowledge of it as well. But there was that moment where Ahsoka was on stage with Ewan, with Hayden, with Tamura, and it was like we're having a live action Clone Wars. It was like Rex and the clones are there, and Ahsoka and Obi-Wan and Anakin's there. And that moment where Ashley looks across to Hayden and calls him Sky Guy, and says it's nice to meet him for the first time, and the crowd just starts cheering and hollering because it's Anakin and Ahsoka meeting. It's magical. It really is. Anything to add on that?
I think that's it.
All right, see you next week. No, but we always enjoy the month of May, don't we? Star Wars month is really, really good for us. It gives us loads of content. Again, Andor is coming out on August 31st. We've got the Bad Batch in fall near September time, I think. So yeah, we'll catch up on some of them. We'll definitely keep up to date with our Star Wars content. So even if not May next year, I'm sure there'll be loads of things. It's really business always is good.
Yes.
Business always picks up around about this time of year for Star Wars. And it's good for us as well.
Yeah, it is.
But we want to thank you very much for tuning into our May the 4th Star Wars month. We started off a bit early with Phantom Menace, but we've had to cover Moon Knight, but there we are. And we'll be coming back to Star Wars, I think, very soon when Obi-Wan wraps. And whenever Andor comes out and the Bad Batch, we'll do our normal thing of the first episode and then do the rest. But we hope you enjoyed. We certainly did. Did you have a good time, Corey?
I had a very good time.
Excellent. So it's a goodbye from me. Yes, it's a goodbye from me indeed. May the 4th be with you.
Nice.
May the Force be with you all, always. So goodbye from me, goodbye, and a goodbye from Corey.
Goodbye.